wrestling fans, the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. And we welcome you to episode 49 and welcome to year 2 of this podcast. New song, new look, new vibe, more and new exciting stuff coming very, very soon to ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan. I am your host, your grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, and musician, the jack of all trades and master of none, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of wrestling podcast, Funko Pop collector, Star Wars lover, all nerdy, geeky stuff, Andy.
And I'm also your host, the No Selling Wrestling Indie fan, and Liverpool supporter, Jeremy.
There we go. Liverpool. Go Liverpool. This is a Liverpool house
Now
here.
people can make the difference between when you say football lover, whether it's soccer or
not all football.
American football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not NFL. All right. In this episode, we will be discussing the return of Johnny Gargano, Thunder Rosa relinquishing the AEW Women's Championship, and the biggest news in wrestling today, Jon Moxley versus CM Punk's title unification match. Plus, as always, we're going to do a general review of the weekly shows. Before we get started today, though, please head over to youtube.com and search the PW Fan, where you'll find our full catalog of episodes for the whole last year. If you help us get to 100 subscribers, that would be great so we can make an actual URL. Apparently, YouTube has a rule where you can't have, for instance, we can't do youtube.com/the PW Fan unless we have 100 subscribers. It's a pretty weird rule, but I guess that's the rules. For all other social media, look for us by looking up at the PW Fan, and you should find us no problem. And I think that takes care of all that. Andy, year 2, buddy, send it over to you. Get us started right.
Just wanted to do a shout out to a listener named Chris Wren. Today is actually his birthday, so happy birthday!
Yeah, happy
Chris.
birthday!
He wrote into us and gave us. He was one of the first people really to write into us personally and say what he liked about the show or his favorite episode about that the show that we've had, and that was Bro Keller's episode. So happy birthday to him. Is there anything you guys want to talk about non-show wise, news wise? What has gone on this week?
Well, do you want to go over...
Besides drama.
Yeah, I was going to say all of
Let's
the
start with
AEW drama.
video game. Let's do with the AEW video game right now. So, Jeremy, you sent that over, didn't you?
That was me.
Or was it Tim that...
Yeah, that was Tim.
So let's talk about that. You started off, Tim.
So I've seen a few articles today. So basically there's been this weird behind the scenes drama for months that FTR and the Bucks, there's some sort of weird beef there, and they're supposed to be, they've already had 2 matches where each one has won one of those matches. So the Bucks have won one, FTR's won one. Now traditionally in a thing like this, you do a third match, which is kind of like the final, and then you do the best of, basically. And there's been a lot of strong opinions that the Bucks, the whole reason that the Bucks are doing a trios division is so that they don't have to put over FTR clean, and that they're definitely threatened by the fact that FTR has been heavily chanted by the fans. And also, I think everybody kind of turned on the Bucks a little bit for a while. It felt like everybody was Team FTR. But
FTR is the most over tag team right now.
Right. They're super over. And look, I don't know this for a fact, but the opinion is that maybe the Young Bucks don't like that. Well, the latest news coming out is the AEW video game, which apparently is said to it's going to be very good. I've heard a lot of positive things about it. But anyway, that FTR was removed from the game. Maybe they will be some downloadable characters at some point. But pretty weird that you're one of your most
They've been there longer than some stars that are in the game. So
and they're your most popular tag team. Why are they not in the game? Seems weird.
Yeah, they have the character models. They said like they had basically everything. They didn't finish the character models, I don't think, but they have them. So I'm like,
who told them to stop? Who told them
Yeah.
to stop working on them?
And also FTR, they're not like that like unique as in look. I mean, like they're pretty
One's a
easy to
bald
make
dude.
character models.
Yeah, one's a bald dude with a mustache, and one guy has a faux hawk with a beard, and they both wear trunks
Right.
and no tattoos.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, they I saw Cash tweeted like about this, and he was basically like, we didn't find out the right way. They didn't deliver the news how they should have. But once they heard the reason why, then they said that was fine, and they're okay with it. So I don't know whatever it was. I feel like it was definitely some tech thing from who was it, Ukes, who's making the game, because they've had a bunch of issues apparently just making the game from scratch. But
Well,
I think it's bad timing.
Speaking of news, this
No, I just
horrible
want to say
timing.
it's just bad timing because there's been all the behind the scenes drama with all these different wrestlers, so it's just like totally believable that you could buy into. Oh, there's even more of a beef than we thought, but you know, like if Dak said, if it's all good, then it's all good. We're gonna go with what he says because he's usually nothing but honest. So.
Speaking of news, as we're discussing it, I just saw Velveteen Dream arrested on battery and trespassing charges.
ooh, really good thing they let him
So
go.
If you thought he might come back, guys, after Triple H taking over,
Yeah,
that's not going to help his case.
Never liked his character. Don't care.
Really? I thought he was great
Nah.
before all this stuff came out, but
yeah. Now looking back on it, it's like it was kind of weird, like knowing
Not
everything he did.
I'm gonna hit him with the classic Cody Rhodes line that he wants the best burn ever, which he said to Disco Inferno wasn't over then, can't get booked now. I was like, damn.
Let's get into Raw though this week. They were in Toronto. Show opened up with Trish Stratus returning. Big pop for her. She gets in the ring, has a segment with Control. I think that's what they're still calling him.
Yeah.
Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Bailey. Out comes Bianca Belair, and then Asuka and Alexa Bliss. This leads into a match between Dakota Kai and Io Sky against Asuka and Alexa Bliss. Winners move on in the women's tag team tournament, and the winners were Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So they are moving forward. We'll get into this a little bit later, but I believe I said last week, Gigi Dolla and JC Jane from Toxic Attraction got hurt. So this coming week, they were having a second chance Fatal 4-way tag team match, which I believe the winners are going to face Dakota Kai and Io Sky. One thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention last week, but it was more in effect now this week, Kevin Owens is back to his prize fighter gimmick.
Yeah, that was cool to see.
The video on the Titantron is the old one. He's wearing the old duct taped KO shirt. He's wearing the Fight Owens Fight shorts. Just back to that gimmick. I'm sure we're going to see more of it tonight on Raw, but
It just looks better.
that makes it. I mean, I love that gimmick. That's when I felt like was most over at one point. That's when he was the champion, at least.
Yeah, it's almost like a thing. Like the character is like he just wants to fight everyone.
Yeah,
Love it.
that's
Good to
my
see him
favorite
back.
reincarnation of him. Bailey had her first match back against Aaliyah, which I don't know why they saved it for Raw instead of making it on like an upcoming pay-per-view at Clash at the Castle or something. But yeah, had her first match back. During a tag team match of AJ and Bobby Lashley versus The Miz and Ciampa, Dexter Lumis kidnapped The Miz. Did we end up seeing The Miz since then, or is he gone? And we'll find out this week.
I guess we'll find out. Like, I mean,
Okay.
actually, it's funny. I flipped over to Raw real quick, and Miz was there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Well, Dexter Lumis also popped up on NXT this week and had a segment with Indy Hartwell, and then was taken away by cops again. I think it was maybe his way of like a send off from NXT since he never really got one.
Yeah.
He had a nice little reunion with his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now he's, I guess, coming to the main roster because they've been showing him enough.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the show was what came up next, and that was the return of Johnny Gargano.
Like, out of
Instead of doing a
nowhere.
run-in or anything, they just showed the crowd after a commercial, and his music hit. And he came out, he did some laps around the barricade, high-fiving fans. Good reception. Got in the ring, cut a promo. Eventually, Austin Theory came out, and if you don't remember, or if you don't know, they were part of a heel faction in NXT called The Way, where they always would say like Johnny and Candice were like the parents of Theory and Indy Hartwell. So crowds chanting "Who's your daddy?" during this, and Theory saying that a lot's changed and he's done more than Johnny ever has, and ends up saying, why don't we do the high five one more time? And Johnny ends up super kicking.
That was cool.
Any thoughts, Jeremy? Yeah.
And
super happy. He came back to WWE, and I think he'll be used correctly on the main roster, you would say?
I mean, it's Triple H. Like, it was Gargano and Ciampa are like his boys. So I'm pretty sure we'll see another Ciampa and Gargano match.
And Adam Cole.
Yeah.
There's no Adam Cole baby in WWE anymore.
Real quick about Theory, is he back to Austin Theory?
I think he's just back to Theory. I think once the name has changed, they're sticking with it.
Oh, okay.
But yes, Johnny Gargano did not have to change his name at all, considering that is his real name.
Yeah,
I believe.
Dude,
it's so
I
awesome
like the crowd
like just pops when like takes a second for the crowd to realize who it is, and then the name pops up and they go crazy.
I mean, I don't know how you don't know his music.
I just seemed like half the crowd was like, "Huh?" I think they were in shock.
And then they cheered. Yeah. So Tim, you're excited to see him back?
Yeah, I am. It's like all my favorites are starting to come back around. So Gargano just came back. Ciampa's getting a turnaround on his character. We haven't gotten into it yet, but we'll talk about Butch in a little bit. And because that's one of my favorites that it's good to see turning back into his old self too. So love it.
Main event of the show was Edge versus Damien Priest. Edge, of course, wins in his hometown. Great reception for him. Afterwards, Balor and Rhea come out, and they almost concerto him. But Beth Phoenix grabs a chair and gets in the ring and stops them. I don't think anyone else came out to save him. I think it was just Beth.
Yeah.
And Rhea and her kind of, have a little stare down in a way. But, yeah, I think I saw a video of after the show, he was kind of talking about he doesn't know the next time he'll be here, or he kind of did know the next time he'll be here. And he said it might be the last time the next time he's in Toronto.
Yeah. Right. So might be retiring again?
That's a tease at his retirement at some point within the next year or two.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? How old is he? Because I'm pretty sure he's around.
Let's take a guess, guys.
Getting 50. So I think he's 46.
Okay, Tim.
Tim left.
No, Tim. Well,
what do you think?
Edge is 48.
48. Okay.
There's no point in me guessing if I'm the one looking it up. Edge is 48 years old, which is older than I thought he was.
Yeah. I mean, he looks really good for 48, but that's.
I thought he was maybe like 44 or something.
And I don't feel like Edge is also someone who's going to wrestle until he's like in the 50s or almost 60. So,
well, I'll ask Tim now that he's back. What? Or maybe not.
But that was cool to see him back in Toronto, though. Like that entrance was awesome.
Yeah, did you notice his gear was like maple leaves?
Yeah, it was like what he used to wear.
Tim, give a guess on Edge's age.
He is. Didn't he just turn 50?
Ooh.
No, not 50. You're close, though. 48.
I went with 46, so.
You both are off by 2. So that wrapped up Raw. Let's get into Dynamite, which in our group chat we had a lot to say about it as as the show was going on.
Yeah, definitely about the one match in particular.
About one match, yeah. So the show opened up with Chris Jericho and Daniel Garcia in the ring talking about the incident that happened between them after the 2 out of 3 falls last week. 2 out of 3 falls match last week between Daniel Garcia and Bryan Danielson. After, back and forth promo, out comes Bryan Danielson, and basically it all came down to Daniel Garcia kind of being torn between his hero and his mentor. Did Jake Hager attack?
He attacked.
Because I know that sets up a match for next week, right?
Yeah.
Jake Hager versus...
That was after...
Or was it a match at All Out?
No, it's for the match for next week, because Daniel Garcia couldn't decide between being a wrestler or a sports entertainer, so he left. And then Jake Hager attacked Bryan Danielson, and they have a match next week. And then it's Jericho and Danielson at All Out.
Okay. The Motor City Machine Guns were announced to be joining Jay Lethal against FTR and Wardlow at All Out. I don't know if you guys are a fan of them from...
I think it's pretty cool if FTR are going to be in a title match. It's like...
Yeah, at least they're on the pay-per-view.
Yeah. And also Wardlow.
So, Motor City Machine Guns, that's Alex Shelley, and who is the other guy? I can't remember.
Never remember.
God damn it. Tim.
The other guy.
God, dude.
Chris what? Isn't it Chris something?
Was it Chris Sabin?
Sounds right.
Yes, I think so. Chris Sabin. Yes, it is Chris Sabin. Good job. That's why we're team guys.
I
we had the All Out pay-per-view.
I used to really be into TNA, so that's even though I don't follow it much anymore, except for when Brian Myers is on. I remember Motor City Machine Guns. Dude, I love Brian Myers.
We're repping their hat. Same podcast hat, but different hat. Same podcast, different hat.
Same hat, different or same hat, different year, different colors.
Yeah, Chris Sabin was big in the X division, if I remember.
Yeah,
he had the song that was like "Hail Sabin." Hail Sabin.
We had a backstage segment from Thunder Rosa, who was tearing up. She had to relinquish her title. I guess I think it's because of a back injury.
Yeah,
she's been dealing with.
It's like back or hip or something. But yeah, and they're doing another interim because I guess she's only out for like 2-3 months. But I'm like,
yes.
To me, interim should be at the most 2 months if you know that for sure.
Yeah.
Past that, I'm like, everyone's going to forget.
Yeah, back and hip is not a 2 months recovery thing.
Yeah.
It's not like a foot with CM Punk.
Right, yeah.
So they're going to end up having a fatal four-way, I believe. It's Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm, and Shida?
Shida, yeah.
Hikaru Shida.
I'm hoping that Hayter wins this. I really want to see her.
I think they're going to go with
Britt Baker or Tony.
Britt Baker.
I think Tony Storm is. I don't know. I feel like they're going to do Tony Storm.
The division felt more important when Britt Baker was in.
I know, but
the champion. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Maybe it's your guys too.
I agree.
But
I want Jamie Hayter turn on Britt Baker, and then maybe she joins the Blackpool Combat Club as the woman.
You don't want Tony Storm to win.
I mean, she hasn't really done much. Or I can say she hasn't done much. They haven't really pushed her that much.
So, do we know when that's taking place? Is that taking place on a Dynamite or at All Out?
That's All Out.
Okay.
Yeah, Tony kept that one at least for the pay-per-view.
Dude, I can't wait for this piece of
Let's get
booking.
into we're about to talk about.
Yeah.
Do you want to quickly go over this match? Because it was a
As
quick
quick
match.
as the match was. John Moxley versus CM Punk. They hyped this match up for the past 2 weeks pretty well. It got me
Very
excited. And I thought they were just putting it on Dynamite because
They got
compete
over a
with,
million.
Like, WWE or
They got over a million views.
they let us down. So let's get into it.
This is not what I expect from AEW for when they hype something.
I even told my friend Corey, who doesn't really, it never always forgets to like catch Dynamite. I was like, "Hey, turn it on. This is happening." And then the match happens. And he's like, "Wow, glad I turned on."
That always
AEW
happens
for
when you
that.
tell your friend to watch wrestling, and then you're like, "Oh, never
I'm
mind."
like, God damn it. We had John Moxley versus CM Punk to see who is the undisputed AEW World Champion. Crowd was hot. I was hot. Everyone's hot.
I was
for this
hot.
match. We're talking about it. What I forget what we said, but we were hyped up in this, and our group chat did a complete 180 in a matter of like 5 minutes, if that.
That was hilarious. So, I mean, do you want to go through the match first, or?
Yeah, we can go through the match first.
Because I was just going to say, when the end happened, all three of us texted WTF without each other knowing.
Yeah, like that wasn't on purpose. I didn't even look at the group chat. I just wrote that because I was like, and I was just like quickly grabbed my phone and was like, seriously?
Yeah.
So I said in the group chat, I said, "Surprised it's not the main event." Well, I guess we found out why later.
Yeah, because they still had
And Jeremy said, "I was thinking the same, maybe for timing reasons." And then Jeremy says, "Match is actually happening." Kind of crazy. 3 minutes later, Jeremy says, "WTF, LOL." Tim says, "WTF," and I say, "Yo, WTF," all within the same minute. And then Tim says, "I'm pissed, boo, Tony, boo." And then I say, "What in the WCW was that?"
Classic.
So yeah, during the quick match, Punk went for a kick to Moxley, and I guess because of Punk's injury, they sold this injury, and Moxley dominated him in like 4 minutes.
Which, can we point out real quick? Because I've seen so many people say this, that Punk sold the wrong foot. Like, they think he's supposed to sell the foot that he kicked him with.
No, he did the
planted
planted foot.
his broken foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how
It's
people
the
don't
foot.
do that.
He planted the foot down.
Yeah.
Either way, excuse my language, but fuck this finish and this match.
I still don't understand. I don't think anybody really
Didn't we
does.
find out why they did it? Because we read that eventually they did it because Moxley hated being called interim champion.
I don't think that was like a thing that he didn't like the entire time, but that's not why they did it. I still don't understand why they did it, because it's like they're doing it.
Doesn't make
again at All Out.
sense. Yeah, there's
So
something
they've
else.
announced a bunch of matches for All Out, but not Moxley and Punk. But apparently, that is the match.
Yeah,
which I
That's
guess
what,
will get
that's what
announced.
Uncle Dave is saying this is the match. So we'll see if he's right.
It just makes Punk look like doo doo.
It doesn't make any sense.
It hurts his character. It hurts his character.
This whole thing didn't make sense. Now, all right, I'm not going to say... Actually, you know what I will say, who? I'm going to put him on blast. Jesse, big supporter of the show, has gone on and on about how great he thinks that the whole thing has been. And I'm just like, wow. But, hey, to each their own.
You know what? It could turn out to be really good. So, like, Wednesday could happen, and then we're all like, oh, now I want to see the rematch.
I think I was just so mad because it was such a letdown. I was like, here we go. And it was like,
Yeah, that's more of it.
Whoa.
It's more because it was a
They hyped
4
it
minute
up. They
match.
hyped it up very
Does
well.
anybody else realize
And then
what we're
it's
seeing
like-
on Raw right now, live?
No, I turned it off. I'm going to watch it after.
It took me like a minute to process what I'm seeing. Jeremy, see if you can
Kurt Angle?
grasp. Yeah, Kurt Angle out in his gear, about to wrestle. What's happening?
Oh, well, they announced he was going to be on the show
I didn't know he was going to
during
wrestle.
this week's social media stuff.
I don't know if he's going to wrestle, though, because Chad Gable's coming out there. I don't know.
Well, he's
I don't
shirtless.
think they're clearing Kurt Angle.
Olympic wrestler versus Olympic wrestler.
Yeah,
He
but
showed
Kurt Angle
us.
can't even
And
walk.
Kurt
Really.
Angle can't cut a promo anymore either. You remember when he was manager or general GM or whatever? God, it sounded so awful. I guess we'll get into that next week. Next week's episode, by the way, is we're going to be talking about. It's a big episode, I guess. 2 pay-per-views, Clash at the Castle and All Out. So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Are we done with the Moxley and CM Punk thing? Does anyone else have anything else they want to mention when it came to that?
So the only thing I think is that would happen is like maybe Punk actually isn't like really cleared yet, 100%, and they're going to do like a lights out match. But I still don't like.
He wasn't when he came back. He wasn't cleared.
Yeah, and so they did that short match maybe because he was still hurt. But if that's actually how it is, then I still don't like it either way.
It's
Just save it for
sloppy.
Thursday.
They're like, you need another week and a half.
It feels sloppy. Everything felt sloppy. It's like, why would Punk even come back on that random ass show in the first place then? Why did he even come
Yeah.
back?
I don't even know if Vince would do this.
It just seems like
Yeah.
something happened and they just were like, we don't know what to do, and then they panicked. I don't know what happened, but it felt weird. That whole show,
Yeah.
after they had the talent meeting or whatever, which we didn't even talk about, but they were apparently gonna have some talent meeting. The whole thing felt
did have
weird
a-
that night.
Yeah, I mean, so real quick about like all the drama for AEW, because we're talking about one more match, but just for like since we're on this, I know like people, there's so much drama like in backstage stories right now, but to me, like I'm actually not surprised about this at all because AEW is 4 years old, almost 5.
WWE's doing great backstage.
Yeah, yeah, but like.
Right.
To me, like when you get to that 4 or 5 year mark, and like AEW starting, like their contract renewals are almost up, they're starting to be more mainstream. Like this is like they're growing pains of a company that's very public, and they also have to set standards. And like Tony actually now is like, not everyone can come to me. Like I think that's actually a good thing that they're actually doing instead of like, because I feel like he was just going insane, like doing his lines and then talking to people.
Tony is insane. So.
Yeah, he was literally doing his lines, and then he was literally doing his lines afterwards.
He's like, all right, Punk, this is what we're going to do. Like, hold on, give me a minute.
He was like,
I will say this Dynamite show.
all right, what are we doing?
Punk, get out there, Moxley.
It's like 4 minutes. You guys got 4 minutes.
I will say the main event of the show was awesome.
Yeah.
It was exhausting to watch, but it
Total
was awesome.
opposite. I mean, it ended on a good note.
We had Aussie Open with Will Ospreay versus Death Triangle in the Trios tournament. Winners were Aussie Open and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay and Ray Phoenix had some awesome sequence. Pac.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I mean Pac and Ray though too, but
Yeah.
Pac, there was one that stood out to me. But Aussie Open and Will Ospreay advance, which is interesting, and we talked about this in our group chat with one another. So Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, real heat in real life. Correct?
Yeah.
That's what
Now,
I
if
hear.
you want to know the full story about it, you can Google it. It's
Are we
out
about
there.
to talk about the after what happened when the cameras went off?
Yes.
Yeah, this was some good
Correct.
shit. I watched it. It was good.
So yes, after the cameras go off, because, well, while the cameras are on, Kenny and the Bucks come out. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It ended with them doing like a standoff.
Because that's who they're facing them next in the tournament.
Right.
And now, when the cameras went off the air, Kenny cut a promo, and do you guys want to get into what he said? Is really directed towards Will the whole time.
Oh, yeah. It
Will's
was
out
just
there
those
sitting on the
two.
apron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you remember what he said exactly?
I mean, one of the
Or
first lines.
He did take a jab.
Yeah. One of the first lines
I
he
can
said is
remember-
like, you couldn't fill my shoes in New Japan.
Well, he said, this is the line, and I remember because I watched it like 4 times. He said, when I left this is Kenny Omega's talking, pronouns, pal. He said, when I left New Japan, I left you a great big pair of shoes to fill, but maybe I should have made it, or maybe I made a mistake by leaving you shoes when it's clear to me that you haven't even outgrown your diapers yet. And I was like, my God. I was like annihilated.
So I think they've wrestled before in PWG. I don't think they ever wrestled in New Japan.
No.
I think PWG, I think there's a clip out there you can see, but I know earlier this year, Kenny sent Will a cease and desist order for something.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was like a real thing or if that was like part of...
Pretty sure it was.
You think?
Pretty sure it was. Why do it if nothing would come of it for months? I don't know. Like, I don't think this was planned that long in advance.
Yeah.
There was one funny part where Will goes to like buck at him and he starts like running towards him and then Kenny like backs away and like a heel and then he like giggles and he's like, oh, look at this child. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that laugh was funny. I was like, I didn't know that was Kenny making that noise.
So I think this match is going to be really good. I know I'm going to watch it in full. When it happens.
This is so
next week
for the old school ruthless aggression fans, and we will talk about it next week. But right now, Kurt Angle wasn't wearing. Oh. No, this is cool. Kurt Angle wasn't wearing gear. What he's wearing is even cooler. He's wearing the Team Angle sweatsuit. Like I think it's the actual one from 2002.
Oh yeah,
it looks so. It's so awesome.
Going to come out,
dude. It looks so good. It looks awesome. But anyway, I'm a big I love that era of Kurt Angle. So this is cool. But anyway, we'll get into that next week. But I'm just watching live, and it's very cool.
I thought you were going to say that the old school wrestling fans going to have a hard time watching this match next week.
I don't know.
That wraps up Dynamite, though. Let's get into Smackdown. A couple things to talk about that happened on the show, and then a couple things that are going to happen next week. One, actually, I'll start from the beginning. Sonya Deville and Natalya defeated Dana Brooke and Tamina, Shotzi and Xia Li, and Nikki Ash and Doudrop in the Second Chance Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match in order to face Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah a little later in the night. Getting to that match, we had Raquel Rodriguez and Aaliyah who defeated Sonya and Natalya. So the finals for the women's tournament are Raquel Rodriguez, Aaliyah versus Dakota Kai and Io Sky. If you look at it in this way, all four ladies are recent NXT call-ups.
Yeah.
So it's that pushing the future thing. And Dakota Kai and Raquel used to have a good rivalry in NXT, if y'all remember. But this is who I thought was going to get to the finals on the right side of the bracket, which was Aaliyah and Raquel.
Right, yeah.
Based off the teams that they were showing, I figured they were gonna push them. So I still think that Control is gonna win.
Yeah.
And then maybe Sasha and Naomi come out, and
that's what I'm hoping for. Like, when they win the titles and then they come out, and then that sort of thing.
Yeah. So nothing else on the show that I wanted to talk about specifically, but since they are going to be in overseas, is it in Scotland?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, no, or Wales.
Wait, where is it in? Do you know the place?
It's in Wales. It's in Wales. I want to say.
Is it Glasgow?
God. Clash at the Castle.
Is it in Glasgow?
Principality. It's in Cardiff, Wales.
Cardiff, okay. Yeah. Wales. I know my geography based off of soccer over there, so.
So, because they're going to be overseas and it's a Saturday, they recorded SmackDown's episode for next week already. They taped it.
Right.
It's not going to be live. So, but I think they announced a couple things. Roman Reigns will celebrate the 2-year anniversary of his world title reign. Jesus, it's been 2 years. God.
I think if they would have said that back like a couple of years ago, it would have been like, absolutely not.
Karrion Kross will make his in-ring return next week. Maximum Male Models will make their in-ring debut as a collective So that includes LA Knight or Max Dupree. I guess is going to be wrestling finally.
Right.
Against Hit Row. Or maybe not. No, if it's against Hit Row, it's just going to be 2. So Max Dupree is still not wrestling.
I don't know what he's doing.
And then what Tim kind of mentioned before, Logovid Kaiser is going to verse Butch. But a picture leaked of their match, and Butch is in his bruiserweight gear that he wore as Pete Dunne.
That's my
But
boy.
still the same name.
For
Still
now.
Butch.
So Butch.
You can't change it and then change it back. It just
Couldn't they do like the Pete Butch Dunn thing? Like, he actually has it like that on his Twitter handle.
Yeah,
And I
like
guess there's no bruiserweight.
here's what I think you do. I think you do.
the bruiserweight Pete Butch Dunne.
You say no. You do like so you do Butch for a couple weeks, and then you do Pete Butch Dunn for a couple months, and then you just get rid of the Butch, and then he's just Pete Dunne, and then eventually you can add back the bruiserweight. It's just going to take some time. It has to be natural.
When he debuted on SmackDown, Sheamus said to the camera, "You all know him by another name, but we call him Butch." So they never said his name's not Pete Dunne. They just said we call him, like as his friends, we call him Butch.
Call him Butch. I don't know why I'm doing
I
that.
don't know what that was. Tim. I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Tim was trying to do an accent.
Butch. We call him Butch. I don't even know what that would be. It's like nothing. It's like just some weird hybrid accent of like everything mixed into one.
But so that wraps up SmackDown. I'm sure next week's going to be a lot of go home stuff. I mean, based off what Tim's seen on Raw so far, it seems like there's going to be a couple things to talk about. But let's get into Rampage. God, Rampage is starting to get hard to watch, guys. At times,
I only watched like a match on there now, like one match.
Tim, did you say something about Rampage?
It's horrible.
This week?
Yeah, no, and like not only that, we're gonna talk.
This NXT is getting good.
We'll talk about that Dark Order booking, but that's another sweet piece of booking by Tony Khan. Good lord.
Well, speaking of NXT, so I want to, because we might start, you guys might want to start watching it. They announced for their next pay-per-view, which is Worlds Collide, which they haven't done in a little while. I think they stopped it during the pandemic because of traveling and stuff. But they are uniting the NXT UK and NXT championship. So we're going to have Tyler Bate versus Braun Breaker. They are uniting the women's UK championship with the women. So we're going to have Mandy Rose versus Miko Satomura. And they added in Blair Davenport, previously known as Bria Priestley. So that's going to be a triple threat. In NXT, you got Gallus now, which is the Coffee Brothers, and Wolfgang. Forget his first name.
The
or
Coffee
maybe that is
Brothers.
his name. Mother.
So,
Mark and Joe Coffee. Yeah, they're great.
One.
Gallus boys on top. If you guys don't know Gallus, they're awesome. Joe Coffey's great. So you have Tyler Bate now there, Gallus. Crap. They brought over someone else. Oh, JD McDonough, who used to be Jordan Devlin. I believe Legado del Fantasma is coming up to the main roster because God, I forget his name. Who's the leader of that?
Dude, Clash at the
Does anyone
Castle.
remember?
Clash at the Castle is the stupidest name ever for a pay-per-view. My God.
that is a cheesy name.
There's some whiz on there for sure.
It's
some cheese whiz.
Anyway, Santos Escobar had a match. It was a match. Basically, if he lost, he would have to leave NXT. Well, he lost, and he lost at Heatwave, and his group also left this week. So I believe they are all four of them coming up to the main roster. But NXT is getting better. I will say that. So
I feel like you say that every week, and we're like, we'll see.
because it keeps getting better every week, it's getting better, and they brought
We'll
over
see.
the top guys from NXT UK.
We'll see about
All
that.
right, you can keep watching Rampage, whatever.
Andy has not stopped watching
speaking
NXT since like NXT 2.0.
Andy never gave
And I've never
up.
missed an NXT UK. I've never missed an NXT UK.
Andy's a tie-dye
episode.
Andy's a tie-dye NXT man through and through.
Rampage. 2 things to talk about. Because I know Tim wants to talk about this. Dark Order defeated House of Black in a
Why?
trios tournament. Thank you. Why?
Because, Miro. That's why.
Oh, because all of House of Black is going to
All of them. All 3 of them.
My God, what have you done to me?
But, I know it's like pretty horrible how they did this at least, but what I've been hearing about, at least Malachi Black, so everyone was saying, even like earlier than this, they're like, why are they not pushed like, to the top? Because Malachi Black's like, it's amazing. And so is House of Black, but he apparently went through, I forget what exactly it was, but like,
He was hurt.
yeah, it was like surgery, but also it was like health related stuff too, where like got serious. So I think that's also why they haven't pushed them as like much as people think they should.
Yeah.
But
I did read that.
I still don't
So
think
what
they should.
though? Like
They shouldn't lose to Dark Order like this.
Who's Dark Order go against next? Are they in the finals?
No, it's the.
Are they in the? So who do they fight next?
Who's
Because winner of Aussie Open and Will Ospreay and the Young Bucks,
Yeah,
and Kenny, they go on to the
yeah. Who
Final-
What is the brackets?
I don't know. There's so many teams, but I can't think of another group of 3.
Trio Total.
Oh well. If you want to look it up, I'll keep talking. Main event though of Rampage was Claudio Castanoli.
Sorry, real quick. They face either Best Friends or Trust Busters. Which they face. It's going to be Best Friends.
Riveting.
Yeah, best friends are going to be Parker.
So then it's going to be Best Friends,
or Drew
Best Friends, and
versus the Elite.
yeah, or Dark Order.
Dark Order versus the Elite.
Ah,
Should put an Aussie Open and Will Ospreay on the other side
Yeah.
of the bracket.
what?
That should be an all-out match.
Tony? Come on, bro.
We know you're listening to.
He's a huge fan, but
Not up Tim anymore.
All right. Let's wrap it up with the main event of Rampage. Claudio Castanoli against Dustin Rhodes for the ROH World Championship. What do you guys think of the match? Winner was Claudio.
It's better than I thought it was actually going to be, but it was all right. It was a pretty standard match. Like I don't know, Dustin needs to stop doing those Code Red ones, those Code Red moves. Because I feel like he's never going to make it sometimes.
Which one's the Code Red move?
I can't remember now. Like the one he flips over.
It's not
the
the
guy?
Canadian
Yeah,
Destroyer.
he calls it the Code Red for his stuff.
Panama Sunrise, Code Red,
Canadian Destroyer.
Canadian Destroyer. Oh, Edge did a Canadian Destroyer in Canada, which I've never seen Edge do, but Edge did one this week.
watch
Damien Priest.
Brock Lesnar do a Canadian Destroyer.
Watch Brock Lesnar do a shooting star
I
press.
want to see him do that again.
Might be one of the best shooting star presses I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I will.
almost killed himself.
When he
but
nails
yeah.
it.
Ricochet's been doing some bangers lately of shooting star presses, but so yeah, Claudio is still the champion, and if you guys, because I know we're all over the place right now, we did not talk about the Eddie Kingston and Sammy Guevara drama, but
I'm with Eddie.
there's drama going on between, or there was. I think they tried to squash it now.
Yeah,
Eddie got suspended. He basically pie-faced Sammy backstage.
Yeah, it wasn't
He
even that
didn't really
much.
Punch him. He shoved his face back.
Yeah.
Can we just all go on
'cause I think
record?
Sammy said something about him being fat in a promo, and
yeah.
Eddie did not like that.
Can we just all go on record and say Vince Russo, or not? Vince Russo also. You know what? Fuck Vince Russo, but just because.
All right.
But just because we're going there. But Disco Inferno sucks. He's the worst.
Did you read this? Speaking of Vince Russo,
Oh yeah.
I didn't send this to you guys. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
He claims that he's been consulting USA Network on WWE Raw for the past 2 years,
I
bro.
don't believe that.
Dude, you're out of your mind.
He said, I've been keeping a little secret for the last 2+ years. I want to come clean. Well, bro, I'm going to break the news to you on this show. I've not said this publicly before. From March pre-Mania, bro, it was right before Mania in 2020 up until this past Mania in 2022. So basically, bro, for 2 years, I was consulting for the USA Network. For 2 years, bro, the USA Network paid me very, very, very well. I got into contact with the vice president at USA Network who was overseeing Raw. He knew who I was, called me back immediately, and we had a long discussion. So the first thing he did was he went directly to Vince McMahon. After my first call with the USA, they contacted Vince and suggested he speak to me. When he chose not to, USA came back and said, if he won't use you, we will.
None of that. None of that, bro. None of that happened.
God.
Well, just like I said 2 minutes ago, fuck Vince Russo.
They say Disco Inferno's been a writer the whole time for WWE.
God. Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah, I want to know if Corny ends up saying anything about that.
I can't wait for that.
This little fucker.
He's going to be like, I'm actually a writer.
Jesus.
But that wraps up the show, Tim.
Well, if that wraps it up, I'll close us out here. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode, and we can't wait to be back next week to talk all things pro wrestling. Jeremy, why don't you play that new theme song one more time so the PW crew can headbang on their way out? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good night.